Today, I want to talk about something when on the trend for social media in the past few days. Uh, Former Emir of Kano State and former Central Bank Governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi talk say most of the things when the Tinubu government did do, not be say he get problems with them. From what he's saying, he seems to believe that these are reforms that were very necessary and that should actually happen, but that ain't not go help the government explain to Nigerians why these reforms they necessary. Because the government they need to behave like in friends. He said they are my friends, but they are not behaving like my friends, so I will not help them. And then he ended up by saying he's just watching with his popcorn in hand and so on and so forth. Before I tell you now what I think and what be the probable reasons why they talk like that, I go like make una listen to the video. So please watch.
To be honest, I can stand here today and I can give a few points that are contrary, a few points that explain perhaps what we're going through and how it was totally predictable, most of it, and maybe avoidable. But I'm not going to do that. I've chosen not to speak about the economy and the reforms or to even explain anything because if I explain it would help this government, and I don't want to help the government. I don't want to help this government. You know, they're my friends. If they don't behave like friends, I don't behave like a friend. So I watch them being stewed, and they don't even have people with credibility who can come and explain what they're doing. But I'm not going to help. I started out helping, but I'm not going to help. I'm not going to discuss it. Let them come and explain to Nigerians why the policies that are being pursued are being pursued. And meanwhile, I'm watching a very nice movie with popcorn in my hands. I'm watching them stew. But I will say one thing. What we are going through today is at least in part, not totally, at least in part, a necessary consequence of decades of irresponsible economic management.
Well, I think you guys have heard it from the horse's mouth, so to say. So the question is, what is the probable reason behind what Sanusi Lamido Sanusi is saying here? Well, the man did not hide the fact that he is a friend to the Tinubu administration. But his grounds is that the administration is not behaving like his two friends, so to say. And he's saying that as long as they are not behaving like his true friend, he cannot help them. Now, so what is the probable reason behind this? I'll tell you. You know, Lamido Sanusi used to be the Emir of Kano State until the ex-governor of Kano, Umar Ganduje, deposed him and broke down the Kano Emirate into different emirates and appointed emirs to run each of these different emirates. Now, Ganduje left power and there's a new government in place in Kano that seems to be favorably disposed to bringing Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, back as the Emir of Kano. As I'm talking to you right now, there are several court cases on the issue. There's a court case that deposed the one that Ganduje appointed, Ado Bayero, and created room for Lamido Sanusi to be reinstated. And it appears that the current state government has a disposition to implement that court ruling. But the Ado Bayero group now appealed against the deposition of Bayero and the reinstatement of Lamido Sanusi. And the appeal court has also given a ruling which both parties are interpreting to favor them. You know, say one thing now for court to make their ruling, another thing now for the parties involved to interpret the ruling. the state government, they believe, say, the appeal court ruling favor their actions, while the Ado Bayero faction believes, say, the state government, they misinterpret the ruling. But the Ado Bayero faction has vowed to take the case to the Supreme Court. So until the Supreme Court makes a final ruling, like they say, the status quo remains as it is. So when Sanusi Lamido Sanusi say Tinubu government need to behave like in friends, and until they behave like in friends, you're not going to help them, it is obvious. The man wants to go back to his position as the Emir of Kano, and it may appear that so far he's not seeing anything from the side of the federal government to show their disposition, towards him becoming the Emir once again. Also, remember that when the Tinubu government came to power, they nominated Nasir El-Rufai for possible position of becoming a minister. And there was a petition that was written by some northern interests which truncated that plan. And many people believe that if the presidency wanted to override that petition and make Nasir El-Rufai a minister, they would have done it. And some people believe that by not doing that, the presidency threw Nasir El-Rufai under the bus. And there's no gainsaying the fact that Nasir El-Rufai is Sanusi Lamido Sanusi's very close friend. Matter of fact, Nasir El-Rufai has called on the NJC to sanction the justices and the judges that have been involved in all of the judgments that have come from the leadership tussle in Kano, which means, as a true friend of Lamido Sanusi, he is interested in what is happening in Kano. So the likelihood is that, I want to believe, this is my opinion and I'm entitled to it, the likelihood is that Sanusi Lamido Sanusi believes that as his friends, the Tinubu government ought to step into the Kano issue and see how they can tilt the whole thing in his favor. And also possibly address the issue of what happened to his friend Nasir El-Rufai and give him a second chance. And as long as that has not happened, he believes that they have not behaved like his true friends. And that is why he's saying he cannot help them. I want to believe that if the federal government steps into the Kano case now and somehow are able to wield the big stick and resolve it in favor of Lamido Sanusi today, and somehow the federal government is able to placate Nasir El-Rufai, I want to believe that Lamido Sanusi will begin to speak in favor of this government. In other words, the reasons why he said he will not help this government are entirely personal. And this gives me cause for concern, because the Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, when I know before, na person when they talk, irrespective of who they for power, irrespective of the circumstances, something which, in my opinion, is what has put him in trouble a lot of times. This talk, when they talk, irrespective of whose ox is God, now make Jonathan fire him as central bank governor. Ganduje not hide them when he fire him. You say part of the problem when he get with Sanusi now because he did talk anyhow. That was the language he used. I saw the video. He said a traditional leader is not meant to talk anyhow, and that Lamido Sanusi talks anyhow.
But the liability of that institution, you have to watch your words. You have to watch your tongue. And he didn't do that. That was a problem. That was the biggest problem, that he could not change his mode of life from social critic to an institution. As of now, that institution does not afford a social critic of his type. You will have problem with the society. He was destroying the institution. This tongue that you are seeing is a very dangerous organ in the body. In fact, even politicians, the greatest enemy of a politician is his tongue. Because you say something you said something yesterday, and today you are contradicting yourself. That is your tongue. But Sanusi was able to break all the walls. Even the traditional rulers, they added another layer by covering it like this. Covering like this means don't talk anyhow. If you don't know, that is the meaning of this. Don't talk anyhow.
And that is part of the reason why he considered him unfit to be the monarch in Kano. So all of a sudden, this man, when go always talk what he want, irrespective of whose ox is God, is not saying he's not going to talk because if he talks, it's going to be in favor of someone. And because that person is not behaving as his friend, he's not going to say anything. I feel concerned because this is a credibility issue now. What Lamido Sanusi is telling us is that he is for hire. You rub my back, I rub your back. One would have thought that a man like him would rise above all the pettiness of some kind of pecuniary gains to say whatever he wants to say, even if it means saying it against his wish, as long as it is something that is going to be beneficial to over 200 million Nigerians who are looking at the situation as it is today. I was thinking that a man like Lamido Sanusi will be able to rise above his personal expectations from the government and be able to say the truth and say it as it is. But for him to say, I will only talk if you prove to be my friend, to me shows that the average Nigerian is just the average Nigerian. We are all selfish. It is all about ourselves. What is in it for me? If there's nothing in it for us, we don't want to do the right thing. And it's terrible. If you ask me to name the 10 best Nigerians that I believe mean well for this country, there's no way I would have named them without putting Sanusi Lamido Sanusi's name among them. But with what he has said today, he has proven to me and to any discerning person that he's just like the average Nigerian who would do things based on some personal or some prebendal considerations, and that gets me a bit worried. Well, I don't talk my own. If you're there out there and you believe, say, waiting Lamido Sanusi talk, not they cool, and that the natural thing for them, not to talk what's in their mind, irrespective of whose ox is God, not to attack for yanya. But if you believe, say, the best thing now for them to continue to insist, say, until government proves them in friend, make you not talk what's in their mind, you are a salala.